Making women look dumb is a disturbing new podcast trend. What they really mean is giving women a platform with which to reveal how dumb they are is apparently a disturbing new trend. I guess some of them might be acting, I don't know, but a lot of this doesn't seem like it. It seems pretty real. For shame. A podcast with hundreds of thousands of subscribers and followers across online platforms is stoking the flames of controversy by belittling female guests and making them look dumb. No, the podcast isn't making them look dumb. They might be belittling them, yes, but that's only after they reveal how dumb they are. Whatever, hosted by Brian Atlas, masquerades as a dating talk show while delving into gender roles, body counts, and the legitimacy of the patriarchy. This is the show that gave us Gorlock the Destroyer. So the podcast team uses social media to seek women panelists, who only later to roast them online in snippets, pandering to the virality of inflammatory hot takes. In other words, it's perfect clickbait, which is true, by the way. That does seem to be their business model. But what's also true is a lot of these women, they know exactly what they're getting into, but they don't care. They're willing to do this because they just want to give more attention to their OnlyFans. And then it's funny that once they get what they wanted out of it, they're like, okay, my OnlyFans subscribers quadrupled after my appearance here, but now that the bump has stopped, hey, could you delete that episode I was in because it's making me look bad? No, sorry, it's not going to work that way. In one episode, the panelists, who are all women, rate themselves as 10s, much to Atlas's shock. Yeah, you shouldn't be surprised. They all see themselves as 10s. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to rate you guys, but none of you are a 10, he says in response, prompting a chorus of agreement in the comments by users cruelly joking about the women's weight and appearance. What do you mean? Like, if you go out there, you rate yourself a 10, you better be ready and willing to have everyone else challenge that. In another, Atlas grills panelists on their body counts or how many people they've been intimate with and is met with resistance. Doesn't matter to me, but it matters to you guys, one woman said, gesturing to the men sitting across the table. So I'm not going to go put myself out there and say my body count just for you two to ridicule me or something. Which is, by the way, probably the best response. If you know that you're trapped on one of these shows and you're being put on the spot, that's not a bad response. While OnlyFans model Nicolette Nicole admitted that her appearance on the podcast was to bolster her own following, she told Vice the clips are definitely chosen to create controversy and make her look dumb and shame her. Yeah, I could believe, because I've dealt with the media. It's entirely possible they deceptively edit this. And I'm not just talking about like they only leave in the hot takes and whatnot. Like what they did to your boy Zach when he went on Jim Jeffries. Like they asked him a bunch of questions and they recorded his answers, and the question. And then when they actually aired his interview, they changed up the order of the questions and answers. So they made it look like he was answering questions he wasn't actually answering. If they do stuff like that, that is kind of shady, yeah. But for the most part, I don't think they need to. Like, they don't need to try that hard to make these women look dumb. All they got to do is give them a platform to speak. On Twitter and TikTok, the video's provocative one-line captions lure thousands to millions of views. OnlyFans girl gets roasted. The podcast twatted. They think they are 10s. What about with no makeup? Reads another twat. Even with makeup, most of them are like 7s at best. Now, on Twitter, whatever promotes videos from conservative commentators Ben Shapiro, who champions disgraced interpersonality Andrew Tate. Disgraced because isn't he still being held without trial? Or I think they did finally release him at least. So Tate has been accused of struggle and physical abuse after serving time in Romanian prison on charges of struggle trafficking and organized crime. He has declared his innocence. But don't worry, it's current year. The accusation is more than enough. Well, what do they always say? Oh, where there's smoke, there's fire. So if he was accused, he must have done it, right? The podcast following has grown amid backlash, with aghast critics slamming the show for talking down to women while dubbing Atlas and Andrew Tate wannabe. I think he's making more money than Andrew Tate is now. I don't know who's the wannabe here. So tell me you despise women without telling me you despise women, and don't forget the condescension one Redditor snarked. Yeah, tell me you can't handle the truth without telling me you can't handle the truth. Is it just me, or do all these women's look incredibly uncomfortable? Wrote another in part. Well, once they realize that this interview isn't going to go the way they think that they thought originally it was going to go, yeah, they probably get a bit uncomfortable. So if this was through like StreamYard or Skype or something, or Discord, if this was a remote podcast, as soon as things start getting annoying, you could just hang up. Like, whatever, I'm out. Or you even just make something up. Like, oh, shoot, there's gunshots out in front of my house. I'm going to have to go check that out. See you guys later. Like, just make something up. It's a lot harder. Like, you have to be like Kanye West to just get up and leave an in-person interview like that. So, yeah, I think they realize that they're kind of stuck after a certain point. The Post has reached out to Atlas for comment. I think he's too busy making money to care what any of these fake news outlets have to say. Although the New York Post isn't as bad as a lot of them are. But the fact that they still post stuff like this. Content creator Drew Afwalo, who counts 8 million TikTok followers thanks to her zingy clapbacks at misogynistic men, has expressed her displeasure for Atlas's content. Hey, thanks for driving more attention to him. In one clip, Afwalo stitches a snippet of Atlas calling a female panelist not a 10 in reference to her looks, to which she says, that's just your opinion. Hey, and guess what? That's likely the opinion of most guys, too. I know you don't see yourselves as anything less than a 10, but if you're trying to get guys, all that matters is how they see you. It doesn't matter how you see yourself. You could see yourself as a 15. If that guy sees you as a 0, it doesn't matter. If anything, he'll even look down on you for insisting you're a 15. In response, Atlas continues to reiterate his stance on her attractiveness because it bothers him that it doesn't bother her. And another Afwalo responds to a video of the whatever podcast featuring Atlas's claims that men are more oppressed than women. Why do people continue to go on a podcast? I just can't even begin to understand. Afwalo said, "Fuck this podcast for real." I think someone's jealous of their success. That's what this reads like to me. She's jealous. Like, she has all those TikTok followers, but how does that translate into shekels? I know this whatever podcast there. I think Quartering was estimating they might be pulling in like mid 6 figures a month. Not even a year, a month. I think that's more than all these TikTok influencers make, even the really big ones. Yeah, I have noticed actually that is one of the biggest causes of jealousy among certain groups of people. If they have a much bigger reach and platform than you do, but you make more money than them, whoo, man. So whatever isn't the first podcast of its kind to ignite frenzied fury online, or as Vice puts it, fuel the gender culture war. Now, feminism has been doing that on its own since its inception. TikTok and Twitter are flooded with snippets of talk shows. Read men in their living rooms with microphones that are prompting women to mock them and beg to stop giving men microphones. So, not gonna mention the whole bedroom feminist trend that actually, I think they still exist. It's they used to be on YouTube until they got debunked to the point where they had to leave. I think now they are hanging out on like TikTok because TikTok actually protects them. So you're getting mad at basically the male equivalent of that. Okay, be mad, I guess. Essence's Girls United writer Kenyatta Victoria this week pointed out that everyone seems to have a podcast these days. Everyone seems to have a TikTok channel these days too. There was once a space where people could report and speak on specific topics with experts, has become an opportunity for someone to project their emotions and opinions and that don't involve them, urging viewers to amplify those who approach the craft ethically and responsibly rather than constantly fueling the ego. Same could apply to that TikTok user we were just talking about. Like this is a pretty dangerous path you're walking down. Yeah, the comments here are good too. Like especially this first one. The Atlas posts the entire podcast on YouTube, so any clip can be verified and contextualized and refuted. It also allows his guests to say their piece. If anything, allows a freer hand and platform to guests than most other podcasts. Definitely true. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I said if they are complaining that this podcast makes them look dumb, maybe they should have thought about that before opening their own mouth. Because like that's what makes them look dumb.